Today's episode will probably be a short one because the book I'm talking about is a really short book and there really isn't much of a story either when you think about it. Why then is this book on the reading lamp? No Pass in Darjeeling is Straight is a non-fiction book, a memoir written by Parimal Bhattacharya. It talks about the years he spent as an English professor in Darjeeling. You can call it a memoir, a travelogue, a study of Darjeeling, but what it is an ode to Darjeeling. It's one of the most beautifully written books I've read so far. To find out what is so captivating about the book, let's switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asavri, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. Shall we have a look at the details of today's book?
Facts and figures.
No Pass in Darjeeling is Straight is a non-fiction book written by Parimal Bhattacharya. It was first published by Speaking Tree in 2017 and then by HarperCollins in 2023. It's a short book, 208 pages long. It's available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle editions. You can find the link to buy the books on Amazon in the first pinned comment and in the description below. Now let's talk about the actual contents of the book. But as you know, no spoilers, no worries. Just
The cover story.
the author Parimal Bhattacharya is a bilingual writer and translator. He is an associate professor in the West Bengal Education Service. In the 1990s, he lived in Darjeeling for a few years. He taught English at the Darjeeling Government College. He joined a little while after the Gorkhaland agitation of 1986. The book begins with a description of Darjeeling as summer comes to an end. I fell in love with the writing and bought the book after reading these words. Weeks before the rains begin, as the heat begins to rise in the valleys, puffs of fog climb up the ravines and gorges to blot out the picturesque views until they are stretched out over the hill station like a great dust cover. A dust cover for a toy town, packed and put away on the mountain shelf after the visitors have left, to be unwrapped again during the festival holidays in autumn. This is in the beginning of the first chapter titled Home Weather. The book has 7 short chapters which talk about the author's experiences, the people of Darjeeling, its famous landmarks, its weather, the history, the political scenario, and together they paint a picture of Darjeeling in its entirety. But if you asked me what genre the book belongs to, it would be difficult to pin it to a specific answer. It's a memoir, it's a travelogue, it's a history lesson. You read about how the British came to Darjeeling and colonized it. There is natural history and environment. You read about the nearly extinct Himalayan salamander and its breeding habits. You read about the breathtaking and popular view of Kanchenjunga from Tiger Hill. And you also read about the night the author saw it rising from the fog from a lonely vantage point in some remote jungle. And now he always sees that view in his mind when he thinks of Kanchenjunga. Let me tell you why I ate up these 200 pages in one day and then reread them and why I think you should too.
Speaking my mind.
As I said before, I read the description of Darjeeling as summer comes to an end and rains are about to begin, and I was hooked. You've heard the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. This book makes the case for how 1,000 words can be worth much more than a picture. Parimal Bhattacharya's observations are minute and detailed. His descriptions are lyrical and haunting. This book is poetry in prose. It is one of those books that you read and reread just because the words are so beautiful. That would be my number one reason for reading this book. If you want to read a book where every single word is chosen after much thought and utilized perfectly, you should read this book. The second reason would be the vast and varied amount of information that is packed into the short book. The personal stories and experiences of the author make you feel emotionally connected to Darjeeling. But through them, he also talks about the history of how the British established the town, and his comments on the colonial occupation are on point. He writes about the natural history of the area, the flora and fauna, the culture of the place, the different tribes, the Gorkha land agitation, and the political landscape of the place. I spent a lot of time reading up on references that came up in the book. You know how I like books that push me to read further or take action of some kind. This book is one of those. If you have been to Darjeeling, you will probably find a lot of familiar things in the book. I have traveled to the north and northeast and spent quite some time in Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Himachal, Meghalaya, some parts of West Bengal. But although I've gone to Siliguri, I've never been to Darjeeling. Reading the book made me want to go there and see for myself what the author talks about. I must say this though, this is not some rosy travelogue of the area. The author has perfectly captured his own dissatisfaction at the disparity between the Darjeeling of his expectations, the one he imagined based on the stories he heard from his grandfather and from the writings of others, and what he saw when he arrived and began to live there. There is a kind of melancholy that runs through the book, but it actually makes the book more interesting and real. Today's quote is a whole passage from the book. I feel compelled to read it out. One, because it's beautiful, and two, because it is the perfect example of why I say you should read the book just for the beauty of its words. For this, I definitely need my glasses. Here we go. 3 months of ceaseless rains in Darjeeling are the cruelest, the loneliest too. Many fall prey to suicidal depression. Yet, when the town was wrapped in fog and the days were filled with a murky light, when fabulous moths swarmed at lighted window panes in the evenings, when the unending rains seemed to be coursing through the blood vessels, it was then that Darjeeling would work her charms on me. The desolate paths, the touristless mall, the listless eyes of shopkeepers, the sleeping street dogs on the railway platform, the silhouette of an umbrella on a foggy road, the lone traffic constable, the newspaper vendor wrapped in a cellophane burqa, the droplets of water drumming on the leaves of the tree fern, the rain slicked mane of a solitary horse on the road around Observatory Hill, the smell of fresh arrivals at Oxford Bookshop, the amber hair of a bored belle behind the glass panes at Amigo's restaurant, the scents of a lost time in Habib Malik's antique shop, the rash of blue wildflowers in the crevice of a stone, the flock of tiny penguins sheathed in raincoats trooping back home from school, the murmur of a swollen spring in the pine grove on Convent Road. All these I would find irresistibly seductive. Read it, people. Now it's time for the LINEDSCAPE rating of today's book.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
LINEDSCAPE is the 10 factor book rating system that I have devised. You can find a link up there or in the description to a video that explains how it works. You can check that out. Now for today's ratings. Language 9. Impact 10. Novelty 8. Engagement 8. Descriptions 10. Sense 7. Characters 7. Aesthetics 8. Plot 7. Entertainment 10. That's a total score of 84 on 100, which translates into 4.5 stars. And now it's time to put my thoughts.
In a nutshell,
No Path in Darjeeling is Straight by Parimal Bhattacharya is part memoir, part travelogue, part history, geography, natural history, political science lesson. I enjoyed reading this book, not only for how much knowledge I gained from it, but also because how it truly represents the attraction of the written word. It's a beautifully written book that hooked me from the first word itself. The language, the descriptions, the atmosphere it creates is captivating. It's a short book. If nothing else, read it for the beauty of its words. Before I go, remember I upload a fresh episode every week. If you liked this episode, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends and family. The more, the merrier. This is Asavri signing off for now. And until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.